Our next generation of power.
Another quality product from the Caramed Group Consumer Division.
Decision 2025, brought to you by Duracell, Kendall, True Juice.
Thank you so much for choosing CVM TV's Decision 2025 Election Day coverage. We're talking numbers, we're talking seats, and we're talking with analytical minds. I have Mr. Lloyd B. Smith all the way out from Western Jamaica, as well as another Western Jamaica man, Mr. Jermaine Barrett, and he is from the specially abled community, as well as Mr. Damian Damian, why am I changing your name? Damian Gordon. Damian Gordon, my classmate of many years, all the way out there from St. Mary. But we're talking now, a little bit of data coming in from Manchester. We've seen some seats already seemingly declared, at least the one for Bunting out in South Manchester. We've not really been able to declare the seat for either Rhoda Central. Or for, yes, Central Manchester, which many of us have been watching closely. Right. But what do we make of the trends that we've been seeing this time around? And we want to start. Damian, do you want to go first? I'll start with you.
All right, the trends, I think it is clear that...
And look to the screen, Damian, because we have the numbers. Yes.
So it is clear that the People's National Party has made a resurgence, regardless of how the night ends. They have gained seats. I always said that gaining 18 seats in one election cycle is a gargantuan task. And barring some significant event, it's hard to see that happening. But to the extent that they are picking up seats, and I think by the end of the night that have picked up maybe over 10 seats and thereabout, I think that the People's National Party may take something positive from this result. Because 4 years ago, when the election ended, people thought that the People's National Party was
a political graveyard.
Yeah, I heard people say that the party may take Andrew would be the Prime Minister would serve for life, and the PNP could not return. Within a 4-year period, the party is now competitive again, and and obviously there's a signal for the Prime Minister that,
don't get comfortable.
Don't get too comfortable. We have a local government election that is coming up in a couple of years, and by the time you're going, as Jamaicans would say, we have another general election. But this is very good for democracy, because we don't want a lopsided parliament. We want the checks and balances. And therefore, when we have a government that is kept in check by the opposition, I think that is very beneficial for our democracy. So democracy, regardless of what happens tonight, I think democracy, people win tonight, because we have a government, but we also have we are likely to have a stronger opposition, which is important. Checks and balances.
Where do you stand on that argument of a stronger opposition after tonight's showing, based on the numbers we've been seeing?
It is. Oh, which one of us?
I'll take you first.
I leave to the elder man.
It is critical, I think, especially at this point, that we have a very robust and strong opposition. Because remember now, we are also moving into an era where we are supposed to be looking at becoming a republic. And constitutional reform, I suspect, is going to be one of the things that is way up in the list of priorities for any new administration that takes over after tomorrow. So for me, yes, and also it means that our democracy is alive and well. When one party has an overwhelming majority, there tends to be arrogance, there tends to be a tendency to become autocratic, and also the winning side having such a vast majority, many of its incumbents become lazy MPs and don't do much work in their constituencies. So for me, if we end up with a very tight situation where whichever party wins by maybe 2 or 3 seats, that is healthy for Jamaica's democracy.
Do you concur, though, Jermaine, that perhaps after 2 terms, incumbent parties and their candidates likely become complacent?
Absolutely, and the data does suggest that the Prime Minister, recall, told us exactly that he did a survey and was really dismayed at the level of sentiments, the sentiments that were being exposed with respect to the performance of the members of parliament on his side. And he came out publicly and said it and said that more work needs to be done. My concern is that may have been identified late in the day. What we saw was an administration touting big infrastructural improvements, big macroeconomic improvements, and addressing issues like crime and so forth, which incidentally didn't feature well in this campaign. But again, the small issues that impact people's lives weren't being attended to, and those ought to have been attended to by the members of parliament. So I think they really fell asleep on their laurels. And it's going to be, this election is going to be a test as to the strength of Andrew Holness. Is he strong enough to pull some of them over the line, or will it be, or is it the case that the damage was too significant and they are left wanting?
A lot to ponder.
There's always the question of job description of the members of parliament. Whatever happened to that? Because I think it's critical that the members of parliament be brought to book. It can't be business as usual. When you listen to several of the constituents out there, they never see the MP after he or she has been elected. Their local concerns, their community concerns are ignored, and they only see them when another election cycle comes about. That has to change.
But
Wow.
Nico,
Let's take a quick look at St. Andrew West Central, because it appears there's a struggle happening here. And if we're to look at it, the Prime Minister has amassed 51.8% of 75 boxes from. So a little over 30% left, and it appears to be a struggle. Paul Buchanan, he has amassed 3,935 votes to the Prime Minister's 4,227 votes. And so I know Titania is in the rear view laughing and saying, I don't know what's going on yet. But Titania, this is interesting. The numbers are very close, maybe too close for comfort. Well, I'll take Titania from Jordan after this, but I want to hear from you, Mr. Barrett. You were chiming in.
I mean, what would have been very helpful if we could know exactly where these boxes are, the ones that have already been counted.
Yes.
That would give us clarity in terms of, being able to predict, because some locations are GLP or PNP strongholds.
Okay.
So that would help us tremendously.
But with over 70% or so already accounted for of the ballots.
It is surprising.
Are we supposed to be hopeful that the next 25 or so percent?
To be clear enough, prior to the Prime Minister having won this seat was a seat that the People's National Party would have won. In fact, when the Prime Minister won this seat the first time, I think that it went to a magisterial recount.
It did.
He won by it. So to be honest, this was not always a safe seat for the Jamaica Labour Party.
But the Prime Minister struggling,
but the PNP has a division that it normally wins in that constituency, which is a Alliance Garden division. So again, we don't know where the votes are coming from and where the outstanding votes are.
Let's see how Titania colors this one for us.
No, so I'm very excited to speak about this seat because it's personal. It's very personal to me. My family is predominantly from this seat. And I speak publicly about my grandmother. My grandmother is a member of the People's National Party, and she lives in this seat. So I don't think it's a struggle for the party leader. I know where the votes can come from. As he made mention, there is a division in the seat that is predominantly PNP, and we expect the party leader to win. That is going to be the result for this particular seat.
Has it ever, Titania, been this seemingly close at this point in the game for your party leader?
Yes, in 2020 at counting, I believe, 65, at counting about 65 boxes, he had only 350 votes ahead of his opponent at the time. And remember, the opponent before ran, I believe, twice against the party leader. So it has always been a very exciting seat to watch. The candidates there have always been very passionate about politics. But as I said, this seat, no doubt, will be in the column for the party leader, Andrew Michael Holness.
Will it be a convincing victory?
Always. It will be a convincing victory. We have 40, or we're going to say we have about 35 votes, or is my math incorrect? We have about 30 ballots. 30 boxes left to count. So at the end of the night, you'll see what those numbers look like.
All right. Gentlemen, what did you make of Titania's assessment of those numbers? I want to go closer to these numbers.
I will say that hope springs eternal, and I admire her optimism, and it would be really, you know, cataclysmic if Mr. Holness should lose his seat, which I don't think he will. But the fact that Buchanan has given him such a run is, you know, significant, to say the least. It shows that our democracy is alive and well, for one thing, and maybe it's another wake-up call for the Prime Minister in terms of his own electability in that particular constituency. Traditionally, both parties tend to put their leaders in safe seats. Yes, and so maybe the time has come, Titania, for the Jamaican Labour Party to find a much safer seat for Mr.
What is interesting, though? What is interesting?
From a leadership perspective, and it's very, very, very important because we spoke about it. I 100% support and encourage this type of leadership from our party leader. You're looking at someone from 1997 winning a seat by 1 vote, a predominantly PNP seat, sticking with the seat because he has been party leader for over, this would be his 3rd term back-to-back, so it's a 3-peat, and he would have won the seat in 2011. He had the opportunity to seek another seat, and he is sitting in a seat that, as the history would show, was predominantly a PNP seat. I think that is a big mark of leadership and something that it's no small feat, especially for young people going into politics. We often think we need to get safe seats, but here is somebody showing you that once you serve the people and once you do it in the right way, you can actually swing a predominantly, whatever party that is, seat.
I'm sure, Mark, when you mentioned that, we're looking at Mark Golding of the PNP, and his margin was a quite long stretch. I don't see his contender coming to unseat him anywhere near.
Correct.
Look at those numbers. But with that, we take a quick break. More Decision 2025 here on CVM TV is...
is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is 9:50.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me me candle. Anytime of the day, night as well, just give me me candle. Everybody can tell this good great smell, just give me candle. Number one in flavor, no parallel. Talk about quality, you know we excel. Spell it out, K-E-N-D-E-L. Give me candle.
Another quality product from the CariMed Group.
Just give me candle.
Crunch your craving with the value menu from KFC. With combos starting at just $620. KFC, it's finger-licking good. Hey, truck, how those Duracell Optimum batteries working out?
Whoa, now that is serious power. Try Duracell Optimum, our next generation of power.
Another quality product from the CVM Group Consumer Division.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me me Kendall. Anytime of the day, night as well, just give me me Kendall. Everybody can tell taste good, great smell. Just give me Kendall. No overwhelming flavor, no parallel. Talk about quality, you know we excel. Spell it out, Kendel. Give me Kendall.
Another quality product from the CVM Group.
Just give me Kendall.
Welcome back to CVM's Decision 2025. We are tabulating the numbers, myself here and Christoph Simpson, and we'll be giving you the latest in terms of where we are, neck and neck so far. But before that, the former seat of the former PNP president, Dr. Peter Phillips, currently being led by Dennis Gordon. He has 53.8% of the votes, leading the JLP's Davian Vassal, who has 45% of the votes so far. And we'll be watching that one. But right now, based on where we are, myself and Christoph Simpson, it's 11-11 so far. So 22 seats have been confirmed. It's neck and neck, and we're going to go through them for you island-wide. So let's start first with the JLP's 11, starting with Kingston West, Desmond McKenzie.
Yes, so we know Kingston West, that's a safe seat, but St. Andrew West Rural, we can call that back for Juliet Cuthbert
Flynn, St. Andrew West Rural.
We confirmed earlier Favour Williams winning
Favour Williams earlier, St. Andrew Eastern.
All the three St. Andrew Northern seats, Eastern, Central and Western. That's Delroy Chuck, Delano Seabright and Dwayne Smith.
Over in St. Anne Northeast, Matthew Samuda.
Yes.
St. James Northwest, Horace Chang.
St. Elizabeth Northwest, that's Andrew Morris at JLP that finished counting.
Clarendon Central, Delroy Williams.
Safe JLP.
St. Catherine Southwest, Everald Warmington. And St. Catherine Central, Olivia Babsy Green. So that's the 11 that we have confirmed so far for the Jamaica Labour Party. Let's go then to the other 11 for the PNP.
I believe we had actually called it 12 for the JLP.
So it's 12 for the JLP now.
South Central for Andrew Wheatley.
South Central for Andrew Wheatley. So the JLP now leading 12-11. 23 seats confirmed so far, 12-11 in favour of the JLP. Let's head on over now to the 11 for the PNP. Kingston Eastern, Philip Paulwell. Kingston Eastern.
Kingston Eastern Port Royal, that's Philip Paulwell, no surprise, safe seat. St. Andrew Western, St. Andrew Southwestern, St. Andrew Southern, same thing. That's Anthony Hilton, Angela Brown Burke and Mark Golding. Those are PNP safe seats. St. Andrew Southeastern, Julian Robinson held on to that from Kevin Frith. St. Anne Southeastern is very, very close. It's a close call, but we can soon call it, probably at the next update. It seems like Kenneth Russell is going to hold on to that from Adion Peart because it's over 2,500 vote lead, and that's roughly the same number of votes about to be counted. So JLP would need to win every remaining vote to get that.
Westmoreland Eastern, we had already called earlier.
Dayton Campbell winning over Daniel Lawrence.
Manchester South as well, Peter Bunting. Clarendon Northwest for Horace.
For Richard
Azan.
And then Clarendon
Southwest for Lothan Cousins.
And
St. Catherine South for Fitz Jackson. All right, so there's also an interesting thing in West Central St. Andrew. This is the Prime Minister's seat. Christoph Simpson, the Prime Minister, based on the last check we had, was now trailing in his seat. So West Central St. Andrew, based on what we saw here, what's the very latest that you're seeing, Christoph Simpson?
All right, so for St. Andrew West Central, coming from the EOJ, Andrew Holness has 4,762 votes, but the PNP's candidate
Paul
Buchanan has 4,867. So the PNP's candidate is leading by 105 votes. Very
Paul
slim
Buchanan
margin.
leading the Prime Minister there in West Central St. Andrew.
By 105 votes, but we still have roughly 2,000 votes to count.
So roughly 2,000 votes to count, but we do have Paul Buchanan leading. Interesting numbers right there as well. Well, let's head back over to Westmoreland Western as well.
Westmoreland Western, they're still below 50% counting. Westmoreland Central, well, they're below 50% counting. The PNP has a lead of less than 1,000. Westmoreland Central, the PNP has a lead a little above 1,600, but still too close to call. Too early to call, I should say, not close.
Let's zero in a little bit on Westmoreland Central. So what's the percentage of votes counted so far?
Almost 90%, so 89.4% of votes counted. PNP has 1,652 vote lead, but there are nearly...
Vaz of the People's National Party.
Going up against George Wright.
George Wright.
But there are nearly 1,900 votes left to count, approximately 1,900.
So that's the situation in Westmoreland. Let's get an update then from Titania and Jordan Fort.
Yes, Gio. Titania, what's your intel telling you about the seat, St. Andrew West Central, with the Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, going up against Paul Buchanan of the People's National Party?
So I was literally just checking to see what we're discussing in our groups. We have 2,000 votes left, about 2,000 votes left to count. So still confident about the win for that seat.
Do you know where those votes are coming from?
No, I don't have the information right now, but I also know that there were some discrepancies this morning. So we're taking a look at that, but we have 2,000 votes left to count.
Would you admit, though, that this is just a little bit too uncomfortably close?
It is very close for comfort, but as I said, we're confident in the victory for the seat.
I see you holding the poker face, and I know you keep referring to history, but when Dr. Holness had, flipped the seat from PNP to JLP, 1997, we're talking about almost 30 years ago.
Yep.
But the question comes up again with the prime ministerial responsibility. Is it now a challenge for the Prime Minister to spend more time in his own constituency instead of campaigning in others' constituency and trying to help them?
I'm happy you asked that, because when it was discussed at the round table, that was a point I wanted to address regarding Marlene and other members of Parliament. I think if it is, and Lloyd made mention of job descriptions, if we're going to be very serious about where we want to go next in this country, looking at the Westminster style of politics, if you look at the British Parliament, they predominantly serve as legislators, as policymakers. And so some of these things that we figuratively think is actually on the job descriptions of members of Parliament technically should not be there. And so I've always had a discussion with my friends, especially those of them who are in the public space, or agencies should be doing the work for our MPs. So the first response you think about when you don't have water is to call your MP and ask, why is it that I don't have water? But really and truly, the National Water Commission should be answering those questions. And so if it is that we're going to be serious about a job description for members of Parliament, if we're going to be serious about moving away, going to a republic, we will have to have those conversations. And are Jamaicans prepared for our members of Parliament to be legislators? Because then it's a different conversation about the expectations. And so, it's an interesting conversation, I would say, and it's one that we should really, really consider as it relates to how we move forward as a country. I use the British Parliament all the time. Even if you're on the same side, they are fighting tooth and nail on a policy that they believe in. I'm not sure if we're there as yet as a country, but I believe that we may have to go there, especially with all these agencies that we have.
We want to stick with the numbers, and we're keeping it in the Holness family.
Yes.
Juliet Holness, of course, the wife of the Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, St. Andrew East Rural, and we're seeing the numbers, 8,445 votes for Mrs. Holness, as she has 52.7% of the votes to Patrick Peterkin's 46.8%. Of course, Peterkin representing the PNP.
Yes.
Your thoughts on that?
I see it. This is I would love to say St. Andrew East Rural is one of the largest seats. I think it's the second largest seat in the country. And Mrs. Holness is one of the most passionate members of parliament we have. So I'm expecting victory. There are some areas in her seat that require some touch points. Like you literally, she has to be there every day. She has to be on the ground. And so I think these numbers are indicative of that. St. Andrew East Rural tends to pull big numbers for both sides of the aisle. And so with little under 25 boxes left, it will be a good showing.
Yeah, and we also want to look at Trelawney Northern as we crunch the numbers. What's your intel telling you? What's the latest that you have on that? Any more inside information than we have?
Actually, I don't, but I would love to see if it could be pulled up on the screen. Okay, Tova Hamilton. Again, a G2K lady. This is a seat to watch. Let's see what the results come with.
Yeah, right there, Tova Hamilton has edged ahead, is it? Well, we're seeing it change now.
By very, very small.
we're seeing the numbers actually change right before our eyes.
Yes.
Dr. Wickham McNeil.
Yeah, this is a seat that really, based on the numbers in the seat, it can go either way. And again, going back to just the politics, Wickham McNeil leaving from a previous safe seat, diving into Northern Trelawney, it'll be interesting to see how Tova gives him a run for his money.
In Southern Trelawney, Marissa Dalrymple-Philibert is going up against Paul Patmore, and we see 26 of 96 boxes counted. Still early days, but just a slim lead for Dalrymple-Philibert.
Mama D, a working member of parliament, this is a seat that we've counted in our winning columns.
Okay. All right. We'll continue to crunch those numbers. We'll continue to give you the very latest here on CVM's Decision 2025. Stay with us. So much more comes up after this.
Crunch your craving with the value menu from KFC. With combos starting at just $620. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Hey, truck, how those Duracell Optimum batteries working out? Whoa, now that is serious power. Try Duracell Optimum, our next generation of power.
Another quality product from the CVM Group Consumer Division.
I'm Peter McConnell, CEO of Trade Citrus. I'm here with my production team making our newest product, True Milk.
True Milk is made with 100% cow's milk from their own homegrown, naturally fed
production team,
processed and pasteurized at their state-of-the-art factory in Buckwalk. True Milk is 100% cow's milk with no additives. True Milk is the real deal. Take it from the experts.
Move up to the best milk ever. True Milk, truly the best.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me me candle. Anytime of the day, night as well, just give me me candle. Everybody can tell taste good, great smell. Just give me candle. No one in flavor, no parallel. Talk about quality, you know we excel. Spell it out, KENDEL. Give me candle.
Another quality product from the CariMed Group.
Just give me candle.
Become a transformational leader in your chosen field with the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean UCC internationally accredited MBA program in over 7 areas of specialization: human resource management, accounting, marketing, healthcare management, and more. Plus, this program is fully accredited by the University Council of Jamaica. Are you ready to begin your next journey of discovery, intellectual growth, and applied learning? Apply online today at ucc.edu.jm or call 876-906-3000. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.
Crunch your craving with the value menu from KFC. With combos starting at just $620. KFC, it's finger licking good.
much for staying with us. It's CVM TV's Decision 2025. We have some riveting data coming in that is going to send you into the East. So let's go. All right, we have a winner chicken dinner. It's projected winner, who is now winner. Let's take St. Thomas Eastern first. Projected winner Yvonne Shaw, that's Rosemary Shaw, is no longer projected. She is likely winner at this point, 51.5. Winner, actually, I did say winner, Rosemary Shaw of the People's National Party taking it home. And so she heads to Gordon House. She won the incumbent Michelle Charles. She secured 51.5% of the votes. I am so anxious to hear what my analysts have to say. Let's start with you, Lloyd B.
In relation to St. Thomas Eastern?
Yes, sir.
It was anticipated, you know. The ghost of Fenton Ferguson was still very much there.
Alive.
And, you know, and the fact is that Michelle, coming from a political family, the Charles family, for whatever reasons, she did not connect enough with the constituents. One gets the feeling that to some extent she took them for granted. And despite her father's input up to the last moment to help her, to show up her support, it didn't work. She ought not to have lost the seat, because with all the grand things happening in St. Thomas now,
yes, I was just about to ask
you know, the infrastructure, the big urban center development and all that. I mean, St. Thomas used to be seen as one of the backward parishes in terms of development. And the fact that all these wonderful things have been happening, she should have ridden the waves of that. Instead,
all right,
it never happened.
Let us see if we can skedaddle back to the projections, because St. James Southern seems to be one of the hot topic items that we can look to now. It's a winner chicken dinner. Whoa, we saw that shift.
It's shift again.
It's shifting.
It can't be shifting. We see the
all right.
something is wrong. It can't be shifting.
Nikisha Burchell of the People's National Party bringing home St. James Southern. Wow. Jamaicans, I did say, as a daughter of the soil there, she's from the people. She secured 6,483 votes, 50.7%. Well, they say it's under 2%, but you know what? A win, as they say, is a win.
But as Damien said, you know, as we continue to look at these results, if you look back at the local government results, there's a pattern emerging, you know.
Oh my.
There is a pattern emerging.
I must tell you what pattern I just got is that it would appear the People's National Party is about to do a clean sweep of Hanover. Can we get the data on Hanover? We're not calling it, but that's what we're hearing. Okay. Are we calling it? We're not. We're not calling it, but it seems so, I was told. Hanover Western, the PNP's Heather Miller Bennett, 6,458. It's 111 of 116 boxes to be counted. Incumbent there, Tamika Davis. Over in Eastern Hanover, Andrea Perkis. We're not calling it. Dave Brown has a close one. It was going to be a close encounter. Andrea Perkis with 5,494. That's 53.9% of the votes, and they have 6 boxes left to count. So, how could the PNP win the West but not the election?
That's almost a political improbability, I think. Whichever party wins the West tends to win
the election.
The election, most times. Of course, there can be, you know, an anomaly at times. But if the PNP is able to take all of Hanover and perhaps most of Westmoreland, that really puts the party in a very pivotal position moving towards first past the post. Yeah. And remember now that in 2020, the JLP had made a clean sweep.
Leading in all 3 in Westmoreland.
You know, it had made a clean sweep. Yeah. So for the PNP to have been able to make this dramatic comeback And again, it comes back, and I think Titania can agree with me, part of the problem, and I think Dr. Hollis himself mentioned it, the incumbent members of parliament did not work sufficiently to hold on to those seats.
I understand, before I come to you, Damien, that there is one box left to be counted in Portland East. That's where Mrs. Anne-Marie Action and Vaz.
This is unassailable.
Let's look at the data.
I think this is unassailable.
She has lost.
Imagine, this is Portland Eastern and Jamaica. You are looking at the raw numbers as we get them. 50.6% of 139 boxes counted, leaving only one box, one dege as Jamaicans would say. Isaac Buchanan seems to be taking it home for the People's National Party. So, Giovanni, what can you and your decision desk tell us about these things that we're seeing?
All right, so definitely Portland Eastern has gone to Isaac Buchanan. Christoph has been crunching the numbers, and we did confirm that some time ago. Based on Christoph's prediction here as well, all of Hanover and all of Westmoreland going to the People's National Party. Let's get the breakdown so far. So, of course, Westmoreland Eastern, we already had that with Dayton Campbell, but Westmoreland Central and Westmoreland Western as well, based on the numbers here and what's left to go, the PNP will take those. Let's give us a breakdown for Westmoreland Western firstly. Christoph Simpson. All right,
in Westmoreland Western, the PNP is leading by almost 1,900 votes. And there are less than 300, there are around 300 votes left to count.
So Westmoreland Western, the PNP's Ian Hales heading back to Gordon House.
Right. Westmoreland Central, the PNP is leading by about 1,500 votes, roughly 100 left to count.
So 110 votes left to count in Westmoreland Central. So Dwayne Vaz heading back to Gordon House.
And then Westmoreland Eastern, that the final count of the ECJ shows the, well, not final count, the 100% shows the PNP with a 1,900 vote lead.
Over in Hanover now, unassailable leads as well, both Hanover Eastern and Hanover Western, based on Christoph's prediction here.
So these are projected to go to the PNP.
Projected.
Would call it. The PNP is leading by nearly 700 in Hanover Western with just about 500 votes to count. And in Hanover Eastern, they're leading by over 800 votes with a little over 600 left to count.
So that's the latest from myself and Christoph here. Nika, going through the numbers out west. Central Manchester, let's quickly get an update on Central Manchester. Christoph, what's the very latest data coming from the EOJ?
Right, so Central Manchester, what the EOJ has here is that Rhoda Crawford is leading by 7 votes, but there are roughly 400 votes left to count. So this is a very, very tight race, too close to call.
Too close to call. Okay, so let's go back to Nika Lewis, then with our panel to get some reactions to these latest numbers.
We did, Gio, promise nail-biting results, and if this isn't nail-biting enough for you, I'm not sure if we can handle your expectations, Jamaica, because look at these numbers for incumbent Rhoda Moy Crawford over there in Central Manchester, 50.02%. You know it's serious when we're going down to these numbers. 49.98% for Donovan Mitchell, the newcomer to this sort of politics. Let us talk now, you know, about what we're seeing here. Lord B, I don't want to come back to you, you know. I'm going to take Damien. Damien, what are we to make of these numbers? Razor-thin margins. What's happening here?
Razor-thin margin. Well, this was one of the most closely watched races on account of the fact that you have generally heard good perceptions of Rhoda's tenure as a member of parliament. However, this seat the PNP has traditionally had a stronger base in this seat. So it's political tradition against the goodwill that Rhoda's earned in her first term as a member of parliament. And it seems that Rhoda is holding her own even within the context that several other first-term members of parliament have been given the boot in this election. She appears to be one of the only first-term members of parliament who's holding her own on a night when we have seen several one-term MPs who won last election have been given the proverbial boot. And this speaks to maybe her legacy, her performance as a member of parliament. We can't just dismiss it. It is clear that she must have done something right as a member of parliament for her to be holding her own against a strong candidate who was the backing of her powerful influencers in the constituency. So you must give her some credit for holding her own within the context of what we see happening broadly in the election so far.
And you know, I'm just getting some insight from some sources in St. Elizabeth who are suggesting that Mr. Slowly may be losing his seat. We're seeing he's up against Zulika Jess of the People's National Party. These numbers indicate that Zulika has taken it. And if we can confirm that at some point later on, very soon after this, not too late, what do we make of these flips and flipbacks? Were they anticipated, Mr. Barrett?
Well, a number of them were anticipated. We saw the trend building. The polls indicated that. But what it also indicates, just to go back to a point that we've been reiterating all night, that the underperformance of the 49 JLP members of parliament, most of them at least, and the overperformance of the People's National Party is on display tonight. I mean, talk about Zulika Jess. She is brought into the constituency fairly new and is performing and performing admirable.
But I want to make the point, though, which I've been saying, that the 2020 election was an outlier. Yeah. So I don't think we should use it as a reference point in terms of how we think about voter turnout and shifts in voter behavior, because it was an outlier. It could be that some of the seats which were lost by the People's National Party in 2020 were due to the peculiar nature of that election, and this is a more accurate reflection of how these seats traditionally vote. So that is something to be considered, all right?
Yeah, so I agree. It is an outlier, but one of the things that we also have to appreciate is that being the member of parliament gives you access and certain privileges and capacities in terms of your capability to use state resources to the benefit of yourself, and we're not seeing that happening here, right? So yes, they got the 49 seats. Many of those seats were strong PNP, PNP strongholds. Again, all of that, the green wall is crumbling, quite frankly.
What does it say about the leader in Mark Golding, Mr. Smith?
Well, I think to begin with, one has to give him kudos for having been able to unite the party, because no matter what the outcome is tonight, in the very fine analysis, it can be said that Golding has been able to make the People's National Party a lean and mean machine once more. When he took over initially, most pundits, everybody wrote him off. And we are coming from the Rise United and the one, whatever they call themselves. And he was able to unite, which was the first thing. And we know historically, once the People's National Party is united, it does become a formidable force. There's no question about that. And it has a very strong base that is always there. And once that again, because even in the 2020 election, although they might say it was an outlier, the fact is that thousands of PNP supporters did not vote in 2020 because of the disunity that was taking place in the party. Whichever way the cookies crumble tonight, Mark Golding is now the undisputed leader of the PNP.
Yeah. And we'll let this be about a couple seconds.
And to add to that, there was this concern that if the PNP lost, then Mark Gold, a challenge to his leadership was inevitable. That is unlikely now, because he has only if he yields. Only if he yields, because based on his performance, he clearly has earned the right to continue to lead the People's National Party. And this has actually bolstered his political stock, this performance tonight.
I see. So, well, Gio, tell us what your stock is revealing tonight.
All right, so a short while ago, you said Zulika just looks like she's going to win. We are confirming that Zulika just the numbers cannot be overturned. So Northeast St. Elizabeth, Zuleika Jess defeating the incumbent Delroy Slowly. Give us the breakdown, Christoph Simpson. This is St. Elizabeth Northeast.
All right, in Northeast, Zuleika Jess, hold on. Had it finished?
And so far, we have close to 100% of votes counted so far in St. Elizabeth Northeast, with 100% of the votes counted now based on the EOJ's website that we are now seeing. So Zuleika Jess is heading to Gordon House. This is St. Elizabeth Northeast, and of course, Southwest St. Elizabeth as well, going to Floyd Green, the incumbent, retaining his seat.
Comfortable margin, over 1,800 votes.
The significance of this bellwether seat, Lloyd B. Smith, Floyd Green, retaining his St. Elizabeth Southwest.
Well, I did not expect him to lose. He has done well as a Minister of Agriculture. He's one of the young stars in the Jamaica Labour Party and will continue to be so. It would have been difficult for a political neophyte as Miranda Wellington to have come on the scene and defeat him at this time. Perhaps if the PNP had put in a more heavyweight candidate, then the tables could have been turned. But it has to be said that Floyd Green is one of those solid members of Parliament and ministers of government. As far as I'm concerned, he deserves to win, and I leave it at that.
All right, then, so thank you so much, Lloyd B. Smith. We have some more information based on what Christoph Simpson is checking here, and he is able to call St. James Central for Heroy Clark.
Roughly 100 votes left to count, and Heroy Clark leading by over 1,800. So that's a safe call, St. James Central for the JLP.
St. James Central for the JLP's Heroy Clark. Over 112 votes left to be counted. He's leading by over 1,800.
And we earlier called St. James Northwest for Horace Chang.
And of course, Horace Chang, St. James Northwestern, we had called that some time ago. Well, it's now completed. The JLP's Horace Chang there, comfortably retaining St. James Northwestern. Let's take a look then at the rest of the data in St. James. St. James East Central, this one between the incumbent Edmund Bartlett and Rochelle Reed Knott. This is St. James East Central. The numbers, Ed Bartlett 62.6%, 7,296 votes. 34% of the votes to Rochelle Reed Knott, 4,363. Christoph Simpson, what's the percentage? What's the remainder? How do we look here?
Well, the EOJ doesn't have those numbers yet for East Central. But it did show Ed Bartlett with a comfortable 2,000 vote lead.
Comfortable lead for Ed Bartlett. So Northwest St. James now. Let's take a look at this one. Northwest St. James. What's the data saying here, Christoph Simpson?
All right, so we had called this earlier based on projections, but now, yes, the Horace Chang has held on to this by about 1,800 votes.
Coming right down, St. James Central, we just call that one as well for Heroy Clark. St. James West Central now.
All right, this is a hot seat. The difference in votes that we have here is 560, but there are still over 3,800 votes to count.
71 of 106 boxes. This one is close. We're watching this one. The incumbent Marlene Malahoo Fort leading 53.5%, 4,193 votes. The PNP's Dr. Andre Houghton, 46.3% of the votes, 3,633.
All right.
And then St. James South, we had gone through that one already.
Yes.
Okay then, let's head. So based on our tally, it's 29 for the JLP and 27 for the PNP, and of course it's the race to 32. Just to remind our listeners, 29 for the JLP, 27 for the PNP based on CVM's tally so far. This race is neck and neck, Nika Lewis.
I'm itching to hear what my analysts have to say. Mr. Barrett?
Yes, I'm eager to hear what the update is on St. Mary Western, the chairman of the Jamaica Labour Party, Bob Montague's seat. Eager to hear that. But so far, very, very close. And in keeping with my prediction, I said on another media platform this morning that it's going to be a razor-tight race, and it is shaping up to be just that.
I haven't heard anything from North Clarendon either.
Yes,
The seat that Waverline is contesting against the incumbent. I think Sybil's is the incumbent for North Clarendon.
And the seat with
we have not
Michael
gotten any update from North Clarendon.
I think Michael was leading comfortably.
He was leading, okay.
I haven't seen any numbers from North Clarendon, so I'm interested to hear what's happening over in North Clarendon.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything about Audrey Marks either.
Northeastern Manchester, right?
I saw she was leading by roughly 1,300 votes the last count we saw.
With many boxes.
Wait.
Audrey Marks.
I think it was
What am I to make of this?
10 votes. So
What am I to make of this?
10 votes. This is good. Done.
Can we
Tim McGregor
confirm?
won by 10. It's done. Age of 18. It's done.
Central Kingston?
Central Kingston back in the People's National Party's column?
By a razor-thin margin.
By a super thin margin.
It's like that. The result is,
No, man, it's never like, no, because Ronnie Twist is so incomfortably. Ronnie Twist is so incomfortably, man.
Oh, yes.
Ronnie Twist is so incomfortably. Ronnie Twist is so incomfortably.
But I suspect there might be a magisterial recount.
There will be a magisterial recount. 12 votes.
It's very close.
Yeah, there will be a magisterial recount. And there were some issues reported earlier in that constituency, you know.
Yes, Division Seaward, there have been no ballots counted from that for the Prime Minister's seat, which is one of the strongest JLP sections.
All the votes are in for Mullines Garden?
Yeah.
All of them are in?
Yeah. And then now Tova has Tova just put out her victory speech. So North Trelawney.
She's claiming victory. Okay.
Yeah.
She's claiming victory.
Yeah.
Has she been confirmed? Has she been confirmed the victory?
All the boxes have been completed.
Okay.
Well, what are we to make of this, Titania?
Central Kingston?
Yes.
I think it is in the true spirit of 2020 to 2025 that these numbers look the way they do. Definitely, I think a magisterial recount will be done here. But you're looking at Ronnie Thwaite's seat. You're looking at a seat that no one, no matter how great you are at politics and numbers, would have expected the Jamaica Labour Party to come and to come this close from 2020 to now. So let's see what the magisterial recount will be for this one, but it's interesting times ahead.
I believe in my research, I saw that Central Kingston not only was held by, was it Michael Manley?
Yes.
One of his early seats, and when he entered the political arena, it was a big deal that Central Kingston was handled in a certain way, and so he was given the permission by the people at the time to take charge. However, in 1944, the seat was first won by who, Titania?
Bustamante won that seat. So it's an interesting, as I said, it's a very, very dynamic seat. If you've ever walked in Central Kingston, politics is their way of life in that seat. So these numbers are very indicative of, I believe, the space. So we'll see how this one, after the magisterial recount, which I'm sure will happen here, what that looks like.
All right. Mr. Gordon, you've been quiet after you projected that, there were certain seats you didn't want to hazard a guess about. But this one, did you see this one coming?
I expected, because you have two divisions in that constituency. I think you have the Almontown division, which the People's National Party tend to win comfortably, and you have the Raytown division, which is skewed toward the Jamaica Labour Party. So I thought that based on the profile of McGregor, he would have been a formidable candidate. And he would have won Almontown by a convincing margin and would have closed the gap in Raytown. Donovan, the incumbent, appeared to have held his own again, and hence the reason for this very close contest. We're not sure how this will end because the magisterial recount is, or whatever recount takes place, we're not sure how that will go. But it doesn't get closer than winning your seat by 12 votes. It really doesn't get closer than that.
Mr. Barrett, what says
you? I think that this is, all things considered, a significant win for Steve McGregor. He came in late
Relatively
in the game. Relatively
under
late
controversy
in the game.
as well.
You know, under controversy. So there was a need for him to tidy up the affairs in the constituency and to win back the voters who would have strayed because of how it is that the previous candidate would have been dismissed. So significant gain for him. Of course, we're going to be getting that recount and hopefully we see how it is that it lands out. But definitely, irrespective of how it ends, it's going to be a significant
And I wonder though, to what extent some of the internal issues with candidate selection would have played out in terms of, in particular seats such as South Manchester, because there was some infighting within the Jamaica Labour Party regarding their candidate selection. And there are several seats where there are contentious candidate selection exercises and some supporters vowed to not support the party. So, what's the name of that? Western Westmoreland, Garfield James as well, and Moreland Wilson. But even South Manchester, you had the Chin as well. So we want, I'm not sure the extent to which some of those, you know, some of those issues would have played out in terms of, you know, causing supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party to not have voted for the candidates in these seats.
Could it not also be the profile of Steve McGregor? He was a former senior policeman. He stepped out of policing some of the toughest, grittiest areas in Jamaica. He was in St. James. He was in St. James. He came to West Kingston and Central Kingston. And so people clamored for him. I understand. You know, when I spoke to him many, many years ago as a young journalist, he would have intimated to me that, Nika, everywhere I've policed, people have always demanded of me to return to that space whenever I moved to another space. So is it not telling that he is just someone the people would want to connect with? And even though the numbers might look so close, that these numbers could be indicative of the fact that it was a hotly contested seat and he got a nudge.
And to be clear, Lawrence has support. He actually won a candidate selection contest. So he has support. We don't know the extent to which some of his supporters were disgruntled and either did not vote or voted against because he switched. So we don't know how many supporters switched with him or how many withheld their votes.
Recall that when he extended the olive branch to Roe, that olive branch was not well received. It wasn't received, and so that kind of unifying force that you think would have been necessary wasn't had. So this is incredible.
Right.
Impressive.
All right.
Well, do we remember Southeast St. Catherine? That's Darcy. That's a very interesting
St. Catherine. We are awaiting that bit of data. So we are looking over at Dr. Alfred Dawes before we take this break. Big Robert Miller of the Jamaica Labour Party coming with 48.2% of the votes. There have been 129 boxes counted of 135. It looks very close right here, right now. Dr. Alfred Dawes of the PNP with the edge of 51.4%. Olivia Grange over there in her seat that she held on to prior to this for many years. St. Catherine Central it is. She has 82.4%. We take a break. Do continue to stay with CVM TV on Decision 2025.
Brought to you by Duracell, Kendall, True Juice.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me me Kendall. Anytime of the day, night as well, just give me me Kendall. Everybody can tell taste good, great smell, just give me Kendall. No one in flavor, no parallel, talk about quality, you know we excel. Spell it out, K-E-N-D-E-L. Give me Kendall.
Another quality product from the CariMed Group.
Just give me Kendall.
Crunch your craving with the value menu from KFC. With combos starting at just $620. KFC, it's finger licking good.
where it all begins. The quest to become great. Inspired by those who went before them, these 4 boys dream of playing in the ISSA schoolboy football competitions.
Will you score this for Casey? Will you score? It's a shot, it's a goal!
And it's a shot, and it's a goal! And Casey has won the Manning Cup, and they will play Clarendon College in the Olivia Shield. And that's what you love to see. They may be rivals, but the camaraderie is what it's all about. Can't wait for the final.
When the bus the man, I want to watch my son play finals for CVM, you know.
But mums, you can't watch it on CVM website, man.
My son score, my son score, my son score, my son score.
Greatness begins here.
Decision 2025. Brought to you by Duracell, Kendall, True Juice.
Welcome back to Decision 2025 here on CVM TV. We're tabulating the numbers so far, and by CVM's count, it's 29-29 so far in the race to 32. I'm here with Christoph Simpson. We're actively counting and tabulating the numbers throughout tonight, and we're just going to get some updates right now to update you on the ones that we have called so far that are leaning and projected to be won by each party. So we're going to start then with the PNP East Central St. Andrew Dr. Peter Phillips former seat. That one is going to the PNP Dennis Gordon. Also going to the PNP Manchester Northwest, this is Michael Phillips. And also St. Catherine South East. This is St. Catherine South East.
St. Catherine South East, it seems that Alfred Dawes will win. He's leading by over 500 votes, and is roughly 100 votes left to count.
About 100 votes left to count. Alfred Dawes leading here in St. Catherine South East. Let's go then to the JLP's projections that we have based on our count right now that we're doing live. So St. Thomas Western, James Robertson, give us the breakdown.
All right, so James Robertson leading by well over 1,500 votes with roughly 300 votes left to count. In St. Anne Northwest, we could call that for Crystal Lee, over a 650 vote lead with roughly a little over 200 votes to count. Trelawney Northern, Tova Hamilton seems to be getting that seat. Very slim margin, 274 votes with only about 100 left to count. Franklin Witter is projected to win. Wait, hold on. Let me double check St. Elizabeth Southeast.
And just to say that we had gotten some updated numbers from Tova Hamilton, and our information is that she has in fact gotten over the line there by over 100 and something votes. We still await the very final count for that one. And while Christoph checks the numbers right here in St. Elizabeth for that seat, we heard about the recount in Kingston Central, Orrit Fisher. How do we get to a magisterial recount even before we even have the final count?
Right. That's what I was thinking, that we're kind of jumping ahead because the final count has not yet taken place, and you have to remember that all the counts take place by different individuals in the different polling stations. So what the presiding officer calls, the returning officer has the final say as to whether or not a ballot is rejected or accepted. And so the presiding officers could accept a ballot that the returning officer rejects, or vice versa. And therefore the entire results could turn based on the returning officer's count, or the lead could be extended. So we have to await the final count before we can even move towards thinking about a magisterial recount.
Okay, so that seat there in Central Kingston, doubt we have heard the last of it. You were checking some numbers in St. Elizabeth, Christoph Simpson.
Right, so St. Elizabeth Southeast, Franklin Witter has a comfortable lead with 2,000, but it's still too early to call because they're still at about 86%. They have roughly 6,000 votes to count.
Let's get then just remind our viewers of the overall count in St. Elizabeth for all the seats in St. Elizabeth so far that we had tabulated earlier. Just a reminder to our viewers. So in St. Elizabeth,
Andrew Morris won St. Elizabeth Northwest. That was a seat held by J.C. Hutchinson.
Northeast, Zuleika Jess
beat Delroy Slowly.
And Southwest, Floyd Green.
Comfortable lead over Miranda Wellington.
So we're just waiting now then for Southeast, where the JLP's Franklin Witter is leading. Let's go then. Let's see what's the latest on the Prime Minister's seat.
Prime Minister's seat, St. Andrew West Central. Still no updates from the AOJ site. That seat still has the PNP leading by 105 votes.
Very close, too close to call. But even at how close this is as it is right now, as we welcome our analyst, historian, and economist with us right now, joining Keenan Faulkner, the Prime Minister's seat, he's the Prime Minister of the country, very, very close at this hour. What do you make of the numbers?
Then the Prime Minister tends to put it out in any event. So, West Central St. Andrew is not West Kingston. It has been traditionally competitive between PNP, JLP up to a time. AJ Nicholson held that seat, and then Andrew Holness got the seat afterwards. So, I think there's still a lot left in that seat.
All right, Ms. Clark?
Yes.
You are saying that based on the numbers and where the remainder of the votes are coming from, you're not worried?
No. So I share the same, and I think Keenan and I have the same perspective. That's exactly what I said. The party leader, except for 2020, literally, I said that about 30 minutes before you came on, that this seat has predominantly been a very close one until the last boxes are counted. And I agree, it's not a West Kingston, it is not a Olivia Babsy Green seat. It has been a seat where you can expect that people are going to come out and exercise their franchise, and they will enjoy themselves up to the last minute, but we are confident that the Prime Minister will take this one home.
Let's go then back to, so just to remind our viewers, as you're seeing on screen right now, the Prime Minister, 49.5% of the votes counted so far, 4,762. Paul Buchanan just ahead, 50.6% of the votes, 4,867, 87 of 105 boxes counted. Let's head over now then to St. Anne Southwest, where the JLP's Xavier Main is holding on. Christoph Simpson, you're saying this one is projected to go towards the JLP?
Yes, Xavier Main is leading by well over 1,600 votes with less than 1,200 votes left to count.
So we are seeing on screen 81 of 105 boxes counted. 57.4% of the votes to incumbent Xavier Main, 5,561. Danishka Williams of the PNP, 4,104 votes, 42.3% of the total votes so far. Not a bad showing in her first attempt, Lord B. Smith.
Not at all. She's really a neophyte to the political arena. She's the daughter of a very famous gentleman in the PNP. I won't call his name, but that was part of her, claim to fame. She's a bright young miss, and I think she should stay in the politics. Having put up such a good fight against someone who does have some amount of clout in the constituency as the incumbent. So I think she did well, relatively well, and should stay the course.
All right, so let's go then to the seats that we have not called so far, Christoph Simpson, and look at what the projections are, what the leanings are so far. St. Andrew West Central, of course, that one with the Prime Minister, still watching that one closely.
Right.
Still watching East Rural St. Andrew. This is the Prime Minister's wife, Juliet Holness.
Right. So, want to talk about that. So, in East Rural, Juliet Holness has a comfortable lead, over 800 votes, but is roughly 900 votes left to count. The PNP would have to win all of those to win. I would still say wait a little before calling that one.
Some of our panelists are itching to call this one. Jermaine Barrett?
Yes, absolutely. That I would call that. I mean, with 900 votes outstanding and Juliet having a significant lead, 800, it's not going to swing the other way.
Yeah.
Damian Gordon.
It would mean that Peter Quinn must get all their outstanding votes.
Yes.
It's highly unlikely.
Yes.
And we don't know where the outstanding votes are coming from.
All right, then, just to take a look on our screen to update our viewers, you can see the celebratory mode at the JLP headquarters there, Belmont Road. They are jumping, they are cheering, they sense that they are just over the line. The PNP, you can almost feel the tension there, the palpable anxiety. They are not so confident. You can see the mood there, so that usually gives you an idea of what's happening. They would know a little bit more detail in terms of where the boxes are coming from, what has been counted so far, so they have a sense. So despite the improved showing from the People's National Party, the JLP supporters so far, they feel they have done just enough. Let's continue to look back at the numbers here from the seats that we have not called. Trelawney South with Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, but the numbers there, the count are very low.
Yes, less than 30% of votes have been counted in Trelawney Southern, so we can't really make any projections. But I had called that a JLP safe seat before any counting had started. But we still
do expect Marissa Dalrymple Philibert to come home with that one. Let's go then to St. James West Central.
This is one of the 4 hottest seats, but St. James West Central, Marlene Malahoo Fort, incumbent, is leading by nearly 600 votes, but there are roughly 2,600 votes left to count.
So 90 of 106 boxes, 5,118 to the incumbent Marlene Malahoo Fort. Dr. Andre Houghton, 4,667 with 47.6% of the votes. That's St. James West Central. Watching that one closely. And then we go now to St. Elizabeth Southeast, Franklin Witter.
Comfortable lead with Franklin Witter, but too early to call because he's leading by about 2,000 votes, but we have roughly 6,000 to count.
All right.
And then Clarendon North, a seat that tends to be very marginal. The PNP is leading. That is, Waverly Hines is leading Dwight Siblis by a little over 200 votes, but there are about 350 votes left to count.
Very, very close. This one in Clarendon North. Damian Gordon.
Right, sir. Sorry about that. So, for North Clarendon with 300 plus votes to count and the PNP's candidate leading by over 200 votes, it would mean that the JLP's candidate would have to get pretty much all the outstanding votes. That is highly unlikely. So while it's too close, I think at the end of the count, the People's National Party is likely to win that seat. Waverly Hines of the People's National Party is likely to win that seat. And that would constitute another pickup for the opposition People's National Party.
So Dwight Siblis, just to give our viewers an update. So Waverly Hines, 5,963 votes. For 5,441 votes for Dwight Siblis of the JLP, 48.9% of the count so far, 97 of 100 boxes. Just remind us, Christoph Simpson, what we have outstanding?
All the...
For Clarendon Northern, in terms of the numbers.
Roughly 350 votes would come from those remaining boxes.
And Waverly Hines is leading by over 222 votes.
Yes. So I know it's a local government election, but there's an election where the parties, the difference between the parties, the margin was just about, it was less than 140 votes. So because that seat tends to be so marginal, you don't want to make a call so early.
Very, very close election, this one. Very, very, very close election, this one. Clarendon Northwest. Let's just take a look back at Clarendon Northwest.
Clarendon Northwest, the counting had finished and the PNP had won by almost 500 votes, 499.
So Clarendon, the northern parts of Clarendon, very, very close between each of the parties, and we see, we remember earlier on we had already, you know, Richard Azan getting that one, getting himself back into Gordon House. So there are just a few seats that we are monitoring, leaning some to the JLP, some to the PNP. When we come back, we'll give you some more on this, but we are now heading to a break here on CVM's Decision 2025. Stay with us.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me me candle. Anytime of the day, night as well, just give me me candle. Everybody can tell taste good, great smell. Just give me candle. No overwhelming flavor, no parallel. Talk about quality, you know we excel. Spell it out, K-E-N-D-E-L. Give me candle.
Another quality product from the CariMed Group.
Just give me candle.
Crunch your craving with the value menu from KFC. With combos starting at just $620. KFC, it's finger licking good.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me me candle. Anytime of the day, night as well, just give me me candle. Everybody can tell taste good, great smell. Just give me candle. No overwhelming flavor, no parallel. Talk about quality, you know we excel. Spell it out, K-E-N-D-E-L. Give me candle.
Another quality product from the CariMed Group.
Just give me candle.
Yes, you've made it back to CVM TV's Decision 2025 show. You're in the right place. We're looking at the data coming out of sections of the country. We're looking at some key people. Among them, we have seen the JLP leader, Dr. Andrew Holness, trying to stave off a close margin between the PNP's candidate. And so we will be getting that number shortly. In fact, we have that number, and we are seeing that Seavright Gardens, I understand those boxes have not yet been counted. It is expected that is where the stretching of sorts predicted by the experts will begin, when those Seaward Gardens, that's where the stretching will begin for the JLP leader. Now, some people have contended that it might be too close for comfort for you to have your party leader in a seat that can become so controversial at times with those close-ish numbers. However, this is said to be a pattern since Holness took that seat long ago. Now, we are also understanding that long after the close of polls, many who were still in line waiting just had not the opportunity to get ahead of the 5 o'clock closing time per se. I'm hopeful that they all ended up having a chance to cast their ballots nonetheless. Gentlemen, we return with this understanding that there are some seats that are still too close to call. There are some seats that, due to delays, even in sections of St. Elizabeth, and now we're seeing the JLP leader's seat over in West Central St. Andrew being one of those seats where after the close of polls, people are still standing in lines. Gio, I want to hear what your panelists have to say about that.
You know, we're just crunching the numbers over here, so as we get it, we are saying it to you. St. Mary Southeast, the incumbent Norman Dunn has lost.
EOJ
based
is
on the
reporting.
EOJ's data, Christopher Brown has taken this one. What's the number saying? Christoph
So this
Simpson.
is with all votes counted. EOJ is reporting that Christopher Brown beat Norman Dunn by 11 votes.
No current data
11 votes.
that Norman Dunn has lost.
That happened before the Winston Green.
Damien,
Happened before.
if Gio, will you allow me to just gauge this sentiment? Damien, you were saying something just now.
I'm saying that this is history repeating itself because remember Winston Green winning that seat by I think less than
2011.
pretty much around the same margin, and that went to a recount 5 votes. So this seat is your classical marginal seat.
Right.
St. James Central is getting title.
All right, so which one you said now? Getting some more information coming in, Christoph Simpson.
So Trelawney Southern and St. James West Central have been updated, but still not enough to really say anything about Trelawney Southern. St. James West Central, the JLP candidate, Marlene Malahoo Fort, is leading by just above 450 votes, but there are over 1,500 votes left to count.
Seeing over 1,700 votes actually still to count in St. James West Central. If we can just bring those numbers up as we're showing you right now. Southeast St. Mary Christopher Brown ousting the incumbent in that seat, the JLP's Norman Dunn. As we head over now to St. James West Central, this one 90 of 106 boxes counted so far. In St. James West Central, Marlene Malahoo Fort, 52.2% of the votes, 5,118. The PNP's Dr. Andre Horton, 47.6% of the votes, 44,667. Let's go back then, though, to get a comment from you, Orrit Fisher, on St. Mary's Southeast. Very, very close. The difference, only 11 votes. Just remind us of the numbers in St. Mary's Southeastern, Christoph Simpson.
St. Mary's Southeastern, 6,631 for the JLP, 6,642 for the PNP.
This is just an 11 vote difference. 11 votes is the difference between the winners for this one. Very, very close here in Southeastern St. Mary. And just as we are speaking right now, pause a moment. We are going now. We have the latest from St. Elizabeth Southeast. The JLP's Franklin Witter has retained his seat. The JLP's Franklin Witter has staved off the challenge of Norman Scott, who got into some kerfuffle earlier today.
Another bad
9,318 votes, 55% of the votes to Norman Scott, to Franklin Witter. Scott, 4.7% of the votes, 7,569. And so we will update the numbers in the race to 32. We are very close. I think the JLP might just need only one more based on our checks right here.
Leader seat is what they'll be counting on.
It's interesting, as Christoph Simpson is saying, that the leader's seat and that's Dr. Andrew Holness and his wife, Dr. Juliet Holness, are the ones that they are waiting on. Regarding St. Mary's Southeast, though, Orrit Fisher, I wanted a comment from you on this one.
That used to be traditionally a PNP seat until I think it was Thorne Peralta who won it from Harry Douglas at the time, and from then it became a ding-dong battle. And I think that Mr. Green, when he had won it, it went to, he died. And they had a by-election, and the JLP won it, and I think they have been holding it since.
Let's say nothing changes in the final count tomorrow, but a party that has lost by just about 10 votes, will they be looking for a magisterial recount? Will Norman Dunn be minded to try and get a magisterial recount for St. Mary's Southeast?
Okay, when the final count is done, and the lawyers, in these close seats, they will have lawyers watching the count. And if the number of rejected ballots, and some people tend to confuse rejected and spoiled ballots. So quickly, a spoiled ballot is one that never went into the box. So a voter will come from behind and say to the presiding officer, this ballot was spoiled, and so it will be put in the spoiled ballot envelope. But one that goes into the box and was not marked properly, or is marked for both candidates or something like that, is rejected. or there's some contention about it. If there are more rejected ballots than the margin of victory, then it will absolutely go to a magisterial recount so that the magistrate can adjudicate on those ballots.
And we should say, if this one in Southeast St. Mary does in fact go to a magisterial recount, it will be the second magisterial recount with Norman Dunn after going to a magisterial recount in 2016 as well. Let's go back then to Christoph Simpson. What's the very latest in terms of the numbers? And by our count, the JLP 31, PNP 30. So the JLP just needs one more to get to 32. The PNP needs 2. Patrick Peterkin will have to work some magic to get by Juliet Honus. 134 of 137 boxes counted. 9,141 votes for Juliet Honus. Patrick Peterkin, 8,228.
All right, so we can, I guess that was the 31st seat, calling St. Andrew East Rural for Juliet Holness based on those numbers.
For Juliet Holness based on these numbers. And so this then would now justify why the JLP supporters at party headquarters at Belmont Road were cheering from about an hour ago, because why would they have been cheering, Orrit Fisher?
Okay, initially the AOJ would have been ahead in terms of the results. But based on the time that would have been expended so far, that would give the parties enough time to get the results from the various indoor agents, because at the end of the count, each indoor agent is given a copy of the statement of the poll as to the results, and they will then transmit that to whether at the constituency level or at the headquarters that they would have set up, and so they would have been able to tally and to know exactly what seat they would have won and lost. So based on the delay coming from the EOJ, the parties would have overtaken them in the process and would have now realized how many seats they would have won, and hence the celebration.
Titania, yes. Something more coming from Christoph Simpson?
It's not something more. If we count the JLP at 31 seats already, and out of those 31 seats, we have St. Andrew West Central, which is party leader's seat. We have Trelawney Southern, which is a known JLP safe seat at this point. And we have St. James West Central, where
Marlon Malahoo Fort is leading comfortably so far.
Not really comfortably, but still leading. It is unlikely that the JLP will lose this election at this point.
Based on the projections, Titania Clark, you have this election in the bag,
yes,
but only just.
Well, I am agreeing with your analyst over here as it relates to the celebrations at Belmont Road and how that works. We are looking at 34 seats. Just is enough. And right now we have a celebration on our hands, and we're ready to continue the work.
Right, so Nika Lewis is at the curve screen.
Indeed, I am, Gio, and I can tell you that we're looking over in Hanover Western, 116 of 116 boxes counted. We're seeing where the Jamaica Labour Party's Tamika Davis eked out 45.6%, not good enough to beat Heather Miller Bennett of the People's National Party, who secured a whopping 54. Is it a whopping? It's still a big enough margin because it gave her victory so far, if we can look at these preliminary results as final enough. But this margin, I think you can't question this margin. 6,995 to 5,907. It is one of the few, in fact, one of about 5 women-only contested seats in this general election, and so that matters, especially for Heather Miller Bennett, who is now a winner. We take a break, but we promise you that when we come back to CVM TV's Decision 2025 coverage, we'll have something amazing waiting for you.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well. Just give me me candle. Anytime of the day, night as well. Just give me me candle. Everybody can tell taste good, great smell. Just give me candle. Number one in flavor, no parallel. Talk about quality, you know we excel. Spell it out, K-E-N-D-E-L. Give me candle.
Another quality product from the CariMed Group.
Just give me candle.
Crunch your craving with the value menu from KFC. With combos starting at just $620. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Welcome back to CVM's Decision 2025. I am Giovanni Dennis.
And I'm Nika Lewis.
And we are just about ready to call this general election. Prime Minister-elect Dr. Andrew Holness has led the JLP to a third consecutive victory at the polls, but only just 34 seats by our count. Nika Lewis, the Prime Minister, as we were seeing just before we came back there, inching ahead of Paul Buchanan. So he did it.
He did it, and we were anticipating, based on what the panelists were saying, that had those numbers been counted from the Seaward division, then we perhaps would have seen that stretch down that final furlong for the Prime Minister. I'm using racing terminologies because there was just so much humor in that, and I could see that the Prime Minister took home another victory despite a very I'm not going to say razor thin, Titania, I don't want to stress you tonight, but it was a very close victory for the Jamaica Labour Party, and it is very symbolic in some ways of what happened in the local government elections.
You're speaking about race and how close a race it is. I see Titania Clark trying to change her shoes right now. She wants to
sprint out of here
and head to Belmont Road at the moment. Titania Clark, what will be happening at Belmont Road right now when you head down there?
Celebrations, you know, it's, yes, a razor-thin victory, but it's a victory. Additionally, in some of these seats, there have been some real strategic work done. And so I know at the party level, while, of course, any party would have wanted a larger majority, it is showing that our secretariat and just the advice of where we want to go as a party. There are some seats that we're very excited we're taking home. North Trelawney being one of them, Central Manchester being one of them. You know, Belmont Road is alive. I will put on my sneakers and skedaddle once you guys are through with me.
Do you have some information that you can share right now about Portland Eastern? You were sharing something with us.
Well, Portland Eastern, like some of the other seats, we have some questions to ask, and I think once those questions are asked and we can get the feedback that we're expecting, we'll see what the final results will be.
All right, so we will be standing by to hear a speech from the Prime Minister-elect. So we are standing by to go to EOJ, where TK Dawkins is speaking with the JLP's head of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Abka Fitzhenry. Let's head over then to the EOJ with TK Dawkins.
Here at the EOJ with Abka Fitzhenry of the JLP, now with just 0.3% of boxes remaining to be counted. You know, many have called it. How are you feeling at this time?
We're feeling good because all indicators are that the Jamaica Labour Party has been returned to office. But I think based on the preliminary outcome, the electorate has given us a lot to consider, and we'll take that into consideration going forward. But, you know, political parties, a key function of it is to win elections, and I believe all indicators are that the Jamaica Labour Party is on that trajectory. So we're grateful for the confidence of the people of Jamaica, and part of our campaign theme was doing more for you. We commit to doing more for the people of Jamaica.
And what does the rest of the night hold for Abka Fitzhenley and the JLP team?
Well, I'll be heading back to Party HQ shortly to do an assessment with the team. I'd imagine the Prime Minister and Jamaica Labour Party leader will address the country from Party HQ and speak to the media as well. And, an assessment. It's been a long and tiring campaign, so a bit of rest will be involved. But again, I want to say thanks to the people of Jamaica based on the trajectory of what is emanating from the AOJ and the various media entities, is that the Jamaica Labour Party has been returned to office. So, the first message has to be thank you to the people of Jamaica.
Well, speaking of the people of Jamaica, what do you think the slim margin suggests, and, what does this mean for the JLP moving forward?
Well, in my view, the PNP has run perhaps the nastiest campaign in the history of Jamaica. They have told a lot of lies on the Prime Minister and the Jamaica Labour Party leader. And because his heart is clean, and I'm speaking honestly here, he hasn't responded to many of the lies. And I believe, there are some people who perhaps believed some of the narratives pushed by Golden Campbell and the PNP, which are entirely false. It was only near to the end of the campaign we began to address some of the misinformation. I believe in the context of the tsunami of misinformation pushed by the PNP on social media, on traditional media and other platforms, that the showing by the Labour Party this evening is commendable. And I am proud of the campaign that the team ran based on our track record of performance, our achievements, acts of care on behalf of the people of Jamaica. And again, as I said, with a firm commitment to do more.
And finally, you've lost a few constituencies, including like Hanover, Westmoreland. What does this mean for the JLP in terms of moving forward?
Well, anyone who has a grasp of political history knows that PNP traditionally is strong in Hanover and Westmoreland. That's not unexpected. COVID-19 elections was a bit of an anomaly. So, yes, we go back to the drawing board in terms of those constituencies, those parishes, with a firm commitment to assessing what has transpired, hearing the issues of the people, and moving forward towards addressing them. But regarding Westmoreland and Hanover, not a big surprise. There are 2 seats I believe we lost by just about a dozen. I believe Donovan Williams fell short by about 12 in Central Kingston and Norman Dunn by 11 in Southeast St. Mary. Those 2.
What about East Portland?
Magisterial recount. I have gotten an update on that. I'd like to be properly briefed before I speak to that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your time. I leave you now to head off to, what is it, HQ?
Yeah, and again, thank you very much to the people of Jamaica. We accept the preliminary outcome with humility and a commitment to moving forward in implementing policies in the best interest of the people of Jamaica and doing more for the people of Jamaica, as we said in our campaign. Thank you as well to all the people who turned out, and to the media who has been hard at work in covering these elections. I know it's hard work. I used to do it, so I want to commend you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for speaking with us. So 0.3% of boxes left to be counted. Most recent update is in St. Andrew West Central. 95% of those boxes counted, with Andrew Holness at 56% with 6,341 votes, and Paul Buchanan at 4,931, or 44% of the votes at this time. So I hand back over to you in the studio.
Right, so Titania Clark now saying, what were you all worried about? I told you so. Titania Clark, you're always confident.
Always confident in the party leader. Listen, there are some seats that we need to win, and we're happy that he in particular is leading the charge as it relates to winning his seat. So always confident there.
If I might just chime in here, Gio, I'm getting information from sources in the Red Hills area, well, Red Hills Road, that gunshots were ringing out just now, sounded celebratory, but they're unsure. So if the police could check on that in the vicinity of the Price right there.
All right, so let's just update our viewers on the popular vote, Nika. The JLP 411,189. This is not final, by the way. 411,189. The PNP 402,321. Jermaine Barrett, what do you make of the numbers? What do you make of this election?
Yes, in fact, this election has worked out quite predictably based on the data coming into today. The fact that the JLP has won by such a slim margin was exactly the prediction I made this morning, and it does fall in line with expectations. You would have heard political pundits on either side making larger and more emphatic declarations. That's how politicians are. But ultimately, the people of Jamaica have spoken, and I think this is a significant performance for the People's National Party. Recall in 2020, the People's National Party was down and out, yes? About to be put into the political dump heap. And Mark Golding has come and has brought the party back into contention. I think what we're going to be foreseeing going forward is a democracy that is healthy, that is rigorous, and some of the hints of arrogance and overconfidence by the administration will be tempered by a strong opposition.
A creditable performance by Mark Golding's PNP, Lord B. Smith, as Jermaine Barrett just hinted to. What of Mark Golding now?
Well, I think he does have a future as the president of the party. There's no question that he has brought the party back to a winnable level, although he did not win, so to speak. But most persons had written him off, even the PMP, and for him to have taken the party to this level, so close to victory, kudos to him. I myself, I'm prepared to eat crow. I thought that the PNP would have edged. I saw, for example, some of the seats...
So you were predicting a PNP victory?
Yes, I was. And I say this unreservedly, and
we know.
That's the reality of life. I'm not afraid to admit, because where things went wrong, I see. For example, I had anticipated North Tredoni to have gone to the PMP. I had expected that at least 2 seats in St. James would have gone to the
Malawi Fort.
Yeah, Malawi Fort, and South I think went, but the fact is that some of the seats that the PMP lost, I had expected them to win based on what was happening on the ground. Obviously, some things went wrong. Congratulations to the Jamaica Labour Party. And for me, what was most encouraging tonight was the humility of Abka Fitz-Henley, who usually is quite
abrasive, is what you're trying to say,
so to speak. But I liked his posture, and I think this augurs well for the way forward in terms of our parliamentary democracy, because clearly the JLP now will have to be constantly watching itself in terms of what takes place in government, in governance, because it has a very strong, extremely strong opposition to deal with. And the Prime Minister cannot continue to say that when he needs advice, he will go to his own supporters. He will now have to look at embracing the
I want you to finish that point, Lord B. Smith, but the break is upon us. And when we come back, I do want to hear from you as well, Damian Gordon, about the voter turnout. We're seeing just under 40% in that region. Again, another low voter turnout so in this general election. So when we come back, we will try to get a comment from you on that. But for right now, stick and stay here on CVM TV's Decision 2025. We take a short break. We'll be right back.
When you want the food shell and make the rice well, just give me me candle. Anytime of the day, night as well, just give me me candle. Everybody can tell taste good, great smell. Just give me candle. Number one in flavor, no parallel. Talk about quality, you know we excel. Spell it out, K-E-N-D-E-L. Give me candle.
Another quality product from the CariMed Group.
Just give me candle.
Crunch your craving with the value menu from KFC. With combos starting at just $620. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Hey truck, how those Duracell Optimum batteries working out? Whoa, now that is serious power. Try Duracell Optimum, our next generation of power.
Another quality product from the CariMed Group Consumer Division.
Welcome back to Decision 2025 on CVM TV. I'm Giovanni Dennis.
And I'm Nika Lewis.
Nika, just under 40% the voter turnout for this general election compared to the last general election in 2020, 37.85%, in 2016, 48.37%, 2011, 53.17%, 2007, 61%, 2002, 59%. So not much in terms of voter apathy, still a major issue.
It is a major issue, and it's an issue, Gio, that I've been hearing from both major political parties recently, even just now, that the parties would have spent a lot of money, exorbitant amounts of cash in pumping resources into the campaign aspect of all that goes into this, and they would have equipped themselves so fully that they felt this time around, based on the investments, there would be greater returns at the polls, and instead they were met with some amount of disappointment being felt.
So you're now seeing live scenes from the party headquarters for both political parties. We just saw the JLP. You can see the PNP headquarters right now. People are making their way past our cameras, folded hands, someone sitting on a chair with their head down, while at the JLP we can contrast that with what we are seeing. That looks like Delroy Chuck, who was here at CVM earlier this week. He's on the stage dancing away. He did say this would have been
his last
election. So we are getting live shots from the headquarters of both political parties. We are expecting to hear from both political leaders, Nika. But Damon Gordon, I wanted a comment from you, though, on the voter turnout.
So we always say whenever there is low voter turnout, I think our default position is to blame the voters. But we have to ask ourselves, how did the voters in Jamaica get to this point? Because well into the 1980s, Jamaicans voted in large numbers. You know, we had turnout levels that, you know, average in the 70s up to the 1980s.
Let me just stop you right there, Damon Gordon. We are seeing on stage right now Angela Brownberg speaking at the PNP headquarters, 89 Old Hope Road. We see Mark Golding making his way on stage as well. So we are standing by to head over to the PNP headquarters to hear from the leader of the PNP, Dr. Angela Brownberg, currently on stage, Member of Parliament for South West St. Andrew, and they will be addressing their supporters. We can see as well in the frame a despondent looking Dr. Dayton Campbell, General Secretary of the People's National Party. And you can now see over now at the JLP headquarters on stage, Abka Fitzhenley has made his way to the JLP, hugging who appears to be Culture Minister.
No, I'm seeing Christian Tavares Finson.
No.
Olivia Grange. The senior Tavares, it would appear in the background. And who is that on the sidelines? Is that Favour Williams?
Yes, it is in fact Favour Williams. So we are standing by, we're looking at live images from both political parties, and as soon as one of the leaders starts speaking, we will go there to get an update. So we are heading now over to the PNP headquarters. I gather there's Dayton Campbell is speaking.
And a man who I'm proud to call Comrade Leader. Very proud of the work that you have done, Comrade Mark Golding, to unite our party, to energize our party, and to allow us to be very competitive in an election. To the other officers on the platform, campaign spokespersons, newly elected member of parliament, now, comrades, we did not get the result that we wanted today, but we are a democratic party that believes in the process, and we believe in putting forward our ideas to the people and campaigning vigorously and for them to make a decision. And we accept the decision that the public makes at any time. Not only when it is in our favor, we accept the decision that the public makes. I want to commend each and everyone on this platform and in this audience who believed in what we had to say and believe in the mission and vision of the PNP led by Mark Jefferson Golding. We started from way behind. We started with 14 constituencies. I believe at the end of the night we are at 29, which represents more than 100% increase in the number of constituencies represented by the People's National Party. It is true that there is no second place in politics and that we're still in opposition, but we will commence the work beginning tomorrow to ensure that the PNP will be the next government in the future. Thank you very much. Be safe on the road. God bless you.
Comrades, it is time to ask the party leader to come to the stage. I want you to give Marky G a big PNP welcome and thank you.
The media is begging a minute. Should I give them a minute? All right, we're going to give them a minute. We'll give them a minute. We'll give them a minute.
standing by to hear from the PNP president, Mark Golding, as they are waiting on different media houses to set up to capture what he is saying, and he is standing by to speak. Party President Mark Golding. Of course, Dayton Campbell mentioned earlier when he spoke that it was not the outcome they were expecting. What did you make of his tone, though, Nika Lewis? He said he respected the electors, despite even the results don't go in their favor.
I mean, are we entirely surprised based on what we saw coming into the final stretch of this night's count? We saw where the western end, right, new information coming in declaring St. James West Central, that is now in the Jamaica Labour Party's column for Marlene Malahoo Fort, the incumbent. She has amassed 53.2% of the votes. All boxes now counted, winning again Dr. Andre Horton.
Let's head over now to the PNP. Mark Golding.
Watching. First of all, I think it's my duty as a believer in democracy to acknowledge and concede the result and to congratulate our opponents, the Jamaica Labour Party, for their victory tonight. Jamaica's democracy is important and we must cherish it. Sometimes it brings bitter disappointments. Sometimes those disappointments are laced with a tinge of a sense that not all is fair and just, but it is very, very important that we put democracy ahead of all of those feelings. And I accept the result of these elections, and although obviously I'm very disappointed in the outcome, I think it is only correct to expressly acknowledge the success that our opponents have managed to gain today. I want to thank a lot of people. And first of all, I have to thank the comrades and supporters of South St. Andrew for standing with me, for coming out today in their numbers, and for giving us a decisive victory in the constituency which I have the honor to serve. I also want to thank our campaign team, led by our campaign director, our general secretary, Dayton Campbell, Dr. Dayton Campbell. Also, a newly minted member of parliament. Congratulations to him on his victory in East and Westmoreland, and all the other members of the campaign team who worked with him. There are a number of names there. I don't want to attempt to go through all those names because I'm going to probably forget somebody and then I'll regret it. But they have done a tremendous job. The communications team, I want to thank them publicly for the work they have done. And that is a night and day kind of job. It starts very early in the morning and goes on till late at night. So their commitment to the task at hand is remarkable, and I want to thank them deeply for it. All of our candidates who ran in this election and their campaign teams, I want to thank them for their effort, for their commitment to the country, to the democratic process. I want to, of course, congratulate the 29 who have been successful tonight, and we have more than doubled our number of MPs tonight. And for those who were not first, they still committed themselves extremely well. And I want to say that this was a wonderful demonstration of the maturity of Jamaica's political process, that we could go through such a closely fought election